Daylight, my MVVs, welcome. The great lion allegedly vowed to expose, the Jewel's uncle's hypocrisy by, telling the entire world what the man has been trying to do. You know that the entire time, the great lion has been investigating what has been going on because the way the man has been bent on dragging the jewel out of his life, he knew that it's not normal. Something was wrong. Something was wrong somewhere. It was then that he realized that, look, this thing that is wrong has got to do with this issue of David Nwangi. The message that reached the palace that afternoon shook the great lion to his very core. It was not the kind of rumor that could be brushed aside or dismissed as one of those, usual palace tales. This time it carried names, date, and undeniable proof. The great lion sat alone in his private chambers, his eyes fixed on a long scroll of messages printed from a phone by his aides. His heart broke heavily as he read the words over and over. The jewel's own uncle, the man who had once before tried to support them, nothing was happening. But all of a sudden, the man started doing everything that is within his power to drag the jewel out of his life. They said the great lion's heart tightened, his breath grew heavy, the walls seemed to move. Okay, he asked in a trembling voice. The aide who brought the information dropped to his knee, afraid to look up. Kabiesi came directly from Sydney. The messages were between, her uncle, that is the Jewel's uncle, Pastor Malaki Nwangi's son, Pastor David Nwangi, and a Nigerian intermediary. They are discussing how to make, the great lion release the jewel officially. And all of this arrangement they are making now, it was an intel that, the great lion got, that they are trying to force his hand to release the jewel officially. So all that small wahala they did about a month ago, where they were dragging the great lion left, right, and center, talking of how the jewel is in danger, how this, how that, trying to convince the family to push for the divorce and all of that at a time where this man has done everything. They have gone to do the full moon ritual and all of that. Anybody would pray for them to succeed at this time. But no, what these people were doing, or what these people are doing, they are actually trying to get the jewel out of the life of the great lion. So they say the great lion stood slowly, his hand grabbing the edge of his royal chair. Divorce, so someone want to tell me when to release my own wife. Behind my back, his voice broke into anger and disbelief. They said it all began months ago when, the great lion had traveled to the UK for a global women's conference. There, they said that was when she met Pastor David Nwangi. Now, she met Pastor David Nwangi in the house of, in the house of Pastor Benro. Now, who is this Pastor Benro? Pastor Benro is the one that is in Australia, okay? So, the jewel met Pastor David in Pastor Ayodeji Benro's house, okay, in the UK. They have traveled from Sydney to the UK for a program. So when the jewel was in London, the jewel now went to go and visit her uncle, and that was when Pastor David met the jewel and could not remove his eyes out of the jewel. Now you are the uncle. Was it not right for you to have told Pastor David that this is somebody's wife? As a matter of fact, he is married to a very big African. She's married to a very big African king. No, because Pastor David showed interest and kept talking about the jewel, him too as an elder. They said that An elder no go fit dey for house, come allow goat when dey for rope may born pikin. He kept leading Pastor David on. Now, this Pastor David is the head to the House of Grace International Ministries. Oh, everyone noticed the way David's eyes followed her with quiet admiration. He was, respectful, but there was a fire in his gaze that no man could mistake. That the jewel, radiant and dignified as always, spoke at the conference about faith and purpose. David was one of the keynote guests that they brought, speaking about global missions and youth empowerment. Okay, so basically, it was a women conference where they bring speakers from all over. Yes, they said David was also there to speak. And so he now, according to what we heard, they said after the event, he approached her. Your words tonight, he said gently, they healed something I didn't know was broken in me. They said the jewel smiled politely, not reading much into it. She had, had such compliment many times, but there was something different about this man. He wasn't a shallow admirer. He looked at her with genuine reverence, not lost. Still, she thanked him and walked away. Unknown to her, her uncle, who was based in Australia, as in, of course, when they met in that church, she remembered that she had seen Pastor David in her uncle's house. But, after that day that she left her uncle's house, she did not know that her uncle and this David, they've been carrying out conversation on her and everything. The uncle had gone to go and tell David everything about the jewel. And David now swore to the uncle that yes, he is ready to wait, he's ready to help, he's ready to do this. Now, imagine that kind of situation where a man who wants to marry you is already ready to help you come out of another man's house. Now, wow. Now, wow. Hey. According to what they said, that the uncle believed that, the jewel's life had become too chaotic since her separation from the palace. He said to Malachi, my niece is a good woman. She deserves peace, not all these palace storms and all of that. That they let her come together and do everything that is within their power to bring the jewel out. And that happens to be what the uncle has been doing. As if the jewel is a small child. They say when the great lion got this intel, the man was mad. They said the man was mad. The man has been so unhappy over what the uncle is doing. And that is why the man is saying that, in fact, he has exposed the jewel's uncle's hypocrisy, that for a man of God, you should never, ever be in a place where your number one priority is to get, your daughter out of her home to another home. Who does that and you call yourself a Christian? He has been saying a lot of things and warning the jewel's uncle not to come anywhere close to, his wife. And because at first he never thought it was something that had been so well arranged already. These people are very wealthy too. And the jewel does not want that kind of a thing. Because maybe just one day. The thing is that, in fact, I don't even know what to say again. I'm going to bring you more updates. Do not forget that these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.